Do the trashy pulp novels of the world have anything to offer? Are bestsellers all they're cracked up to be? Here at Terrible Book Club, we explore whether you really can judge a book by its cover, or its ridiculous synopsis. You ever passed a book and thought, ugh, who's reading this? We probably are.
Hello and welcome to episode 197 of the Terrible Book Club. I'm Paris, and this is Chris.
Bienvenuto!
Salve! Buenagas hodie!
Oh, yeah, dzień dobry, I don't know.
Ordenadode. See?
I don't have any
we
more.
can just say phrases from languages we know.
Yeah.
That's how you make a podcast,
Konnichiwa.
right? That's how you make a...
Annyeonghaseyo.
All right. Well, listeners, that'll all make sense momentarily. A fateful tweet brought this book to... Wait, is it an exclamation now? What are we calling tweets on X?
We're re-Xing posts now.
An X came to us last summer on July 7th, and this was yet another case of an author seeking us out and asking us to read their book because they do absolutely no due diligence and do not check to see what kind of show we are. And usually what happens is we ignore them, or occasionally I might reply to them. If they've sent us several messages, I might just be like, hey, stop wasting your time. Like, I doubt you want to be featured on this show. I mean, if you really want to, sure. But in any case, I ignored this one, and then I went back and looked at it because I was like, oh, maybe it'll be shorter, because we did need a couple of short things plugged into the schedule for this year. And I decided, what the hell, we'll look at it. And, folks, be forewarned. If you ask us to read a book, you gotta have a tough skin. This is a book review show where we are just two human beings who read a lot talking about our experience with books. We're not book professionals, so we're not paid to do this. We're not paid by a publication to be overly nice. We also don't make our livings off of this. This is just a hobby for us. We're not influencers or YouTubers or any of that. So, we're gonna provide unvarnished opinions. So, just know that when you reach out to Terrible Book Club, we're not gonna hold your hand through this. We're gonna tell you what's fucked up and why and how you can maybe fix it, and you can take that advice if you want. We're not asking you to. It's not necessary, but that's what you get here. So, again, careful with those tweets. Or those X's, or whatever they're called.
Don't X us too hard, please.
I think exclamation is good. I think my idea is great. Should I tell Elon?
No, he'll steal it, and then he'll somehow make $1 billion off of it, and then lose $3 billion off of it.
I'll give him an idea so good bad that it'll actually kill him. Maybe I should do this.
Finally, thank you.
At last, the exclamation is what brought him down. Anyway, all right, moving on. All right, besides hating Elon Musk, what we do on the show is we here at Terrible Book Club read books that we assume will be bad based on their cover, title, summary, or some combination of the three. Sometimes, like today, we read books that people proposition us to read. Usually those are like listeners or friends or patrons, but occasionally an author just walks in here without knowing what's going on. So
completely blindfolded and just handing the book out to anyone, even the terrible smelling corner that we're in over here.
So in any case, we do the opposite of what most people do in a bookstore or while they're browsing the internet, and typically this experiment results in a hilariously disappointing read, although sometimes we are surprised and we end up liking or loving a book. Those are always great episodes. We love those episodes. We only get 2 a year at this rate. So
Please feed us. Please, we're so hungry for good.
Fewer than 10% of episodes involve us loving or liking a book. It's rough out here. All right. So today you just got our usual barnyard language. I already said fuck on this recording, so you know that.
Yeah.
But we don't have any particularly horrifying content. I will say the only thing that happens is there's just some real glossing over of like colonialism in this book.
Yeah, that's about it. I don't know if that's a content warning because like we've all been glossing over colonialism for hundreds of years. I feel like
that's the state of being. But yeah, so we're not dealing with any very heavy topics today. This is honestly just going to be a ball of wacky, wild fun brought to you straight from Terriblo's tentacles. It's going to be a real.
He rolls it up in a ball with all of his like arms and tentacles, and he presents it to you like an owl pellet.
Yes, that is what this episode is. All right, Chris, do you want to read the back of the book summary? Tell us what Shivangi Sharma, the author, was saying to try to get people to pick this up. What is she telling people?
Step into the world of Cultural Passport, the first volume in an enthralling trilogy that invites you to embark on a breathtaking journey through the vibrant tapestry of our planet. Join us as we unlock the secrets, stories, and souls of 20 extraordinary countries, each with its own distinct charm and allure. Remember the words of the great traveler Ibn Battuta, for it is true that traveling leaves us speechless, only to transform us into storytellers. Fasten your seatbelts and let the journey begin. Safe travels.
Okay.
This is a trilogy, Paris? I didn't realize that this was part of a trilogy.
Because we needed 3
Re-upping on your cultural passport renewal process. Send in a picture of yourself and 2 forms of ID.
And if we reject you, you have to read another one of these books. That's how this keeps happening.
Shit! God damn it! I better get it right.
Get it right the first time, or you're in for another cultural passport to hell.
Okay, well, so for our characters and setting here, the setting, I suppose, is the most important thing. We take a very surface level trip through 20 countries.
20 countries?
And those 20...
In under 200 pages? Is that right?
Yes. Yep.
It's a lot.
So those 20 countries are Italy, France, Singapore, Germany, Mexico, Portugal, England, Japan, Argentina, Scotland, Canada, Jordan, Iraq, Jamaica, Australia, the Netherlands, Russia, South Korea, and India.
Thank you, Chris.
I should have done that more like Animaniac style, I think.
Italy, France, Singapore, Germany, Mexico, Portugal, England, Japan, Argentina, Scotland, Canada, Jordan, Iraq, Jamaica, Australia, Netherlands, Russia, South Korea, and India.
Nice finish. Okay, there are some characters here, though, including Emily and Jessica and Carlos and the Bean Knights and Cristiano Rinaldo and also Sinterklaas. Like, if you're wondering who the fuck Emily, Jessica, and Carlos and the Bean Knights are, so are we.
We're also wondering, and why Cristiano Ronaldo has such a big appearance in one chapter of this book.
Yeah, he's a big feature of chapter 7.
And we got every version of Santa Claus in here. We got Santa Claus, we got Sinterklaas, we got Sunderklaus. They're all here. Every version, even though they're pretty much the same because they're all
Collect
European.
them all in the cultural passport variants.
Oh.
Okay, Paris, why don't you read the summary that I wrote for this? And this is less of a content summary, I feel, and more of a tonal summary of what is going on here. So you can read it and perhaps then explain to people what I mean by that after you get through it.
It's a tonal piece. Thank you, Chris.
Yes.
Hails and greetings and welcome to Cultural Passport. Cultural Passport, where repetitive paragraphs, completely made-up legends, and observations with the depth of a puddle in the Sahara meet. So, grab your reading glasses, settle into your book hole, and give yourself unto our Dark Lord and join us on a formulaic romp through several countries. Picture this. You're on the 10th chapter that's really the 5th chapter of a book, and you've begun to notice that every single one of them seems to follow the exact same pattern. Terrible's tentacles slither into view as your panic increases. How bad could it be? It's just Cultural Passport, an innocuous travel book. What damage could really be done in 20 short chapters that each feature a different country and fail? In Cultural Passport, innate nonsense isn't just a cool way to fleece people out of a few bucks by buying this book. It's a way of life. You'll find out all sorts of things. Things like, did you know Britain and Japan like tea? And there's a German and Dutch Santa Claus? How about the completely made-up story about Carlos, the sentient coffee bean, who joins the Bean Knights on a quest to find the greatest coffee? Who the fuck is Jessica, the lady that is suddenly a point of view character in the South Korea chapter? Legend has it that this is another clear example of suspiciously AI writing. The level of repetition in both a micro and macro sense is truly inhuman. And so, as we draw our summary to a close, let us reflect on how terrible books teach us to appreciate the effort and craft that go into writing something of substance. We appreciate the intricate tapestry of all the different kinds of books that Dribble has shown us, so we can appreciate the good ones even more. Chris, can I just say this was a fucking work of art? Yes, this is...
I appreciate it. I feel like there was some stuff that I left on the cutting room floor, but I wanted to keep it fairly brief. And if you're wondering why Paris thinks that, it's because that's the way every single chapter goes. There's like a greeting with like something from the language of that country. There's a picture this. There's always a picture this.
Oh, you have to get ready.
There's
at least 3 times. Get ready and prepare.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I left out... we left out the getting ready. Believe me, I'm going to talk about getting ready later on, Paris. I'm saving that for later.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, it's time to break out the rubric already here, Paris.
Well, how long do you think...
And let's begin.
How long do you think this train to hell is? How long's the commute? We got our passports to hell. How long's the train? We got time.
Why is it a train and not an... Like, don't you use a passport for an airport? I guess if you're intercontinental or intercountry trains would require a passport. Too.
Yeah, you need a passport. You don't. I
don't know, man.
We're taking
I feel
the train
like
because it's slower. Because they want to prolong
That's true.
the journey.
Yes, but it's a loop. Like you keep coming back to this. Like you swear you've seen that same station before. Like, is it really different? It feels the same. There's a different Santa Claus in the corner, but it's still Santa Claus.
We're just in the Good Place show again. That's what this feels like. There was a train there. Remember, that's how you went to different places anyway.
True.
All right, we're on the train. Let's pull out the rubric. We got time.
Okay. Technical construction, Paris, and I think this is a sign of things to come here when this is not an easy one for this book. So,
hell no.
There's issues here. Can I begin with a forward and a preface and a prologue all at the same time that say the same thing? Because that's how this book begins.
Yeah, I don't understand why you needed 3 beginnings that all had the same content. And you might be saying...
That are telling me to get ready.
And you might be saying, Paris and Chris, there's no way that's true, but let me just show you. All right. Forward. Cultural passport, because we just needed the title again, I guess. All right. Hey there, fellow Globetrotters. I'm Shivangi, an Indian girl with an insatiable passion for writing and a thirst for adventure. Welcome to my world, where we'll embark on a thrilling journey which uncovers the quirks and charms of 60 captivating countries covered in the trilogy. Get ready to have a blast! Born in the enchanting city of Gwalior, my family whisked me away to the vibrant streets of Mumbai shortly after. My childhood was spent amidst the lively suburbs until destiny led me to Delhi in 2017, where I embarked on my very first job as a flight attendant. Little did I know that this would become the catalyst for an extraordinary chapter of my life. For the past 5 years, I've soared through the skies, hopping from one destination to another, savoring the flavors of cultures far and wide. The people I've met, the friendships forged, and the stories woven during this remarkable time have become the foundation of my writing. Yada yada. At 13, I started a diary. I love writing. It's a hobby. I proudly hold a graduate degree in social sciences, accompanied by various diplomas earned from esteemed universities around the world. Wow, that's a surprise.
Multiple?
Yep.
Multiple?
Apparently. I've accumulated valuable experience working in the aviation industry and served as a subject matter expert in sociology and history. It's this unique blend of qualifications and real-world expertise that lends an authentic voice to my writing. So, me, prepare to be transported, yada yada. Comments and reviews are so welcome. Anticipated eagerly. I'm sure that's about to change. All right. Now we're in the preface. Congratulations! You've made a rad choice by grabbing a book and tapping into your wild imagination instead of just zoning out to mind-numbing YouTube videos on your TV or phone screens. By picking up this book on your phone screen, you have unlocked the door to a world of adventure. This isn't a print publication. to a world of adventure, exploration, and cultural immersion. Get ready to embark on an extraordinary journey that will transport you to far-off lands. Yada yada, traveling.
ready.
You will discover breathtaking beauty, etc. With each chapter, I'll transport you to the cobblestone streets of historic towns, the bustling markets, fragrant with spices, and the serene landscapes that take your breath away. Fasten your seatbelts, grab your linguistic guidebook, prepare to embark. Okay, bon voyage. Acknowledgements.
Get ready.
I would like to express my deepest gratitude and appreciation. And then she thanks her family members, her sister, her brother-in-law, yada yada, my dear friend. Oh, thank you so much to each and every person who has contributed. Wonderful. Prologue. Bienvenue, madame and monsieur, to a breathtaking journey. Do you see what we mean?
Keep going through the rest
and
of
then at the end of the prologue, it says, all right, let the journey begin. So again, this is the third time we've been told, like, fast, get ready, we're gonna start. Italy. 2 pages into Italy. So get ready to immerse yourself in the vibrant, welcoming culture of Italia. Anyway, it's very repetitive. Actually, between the acknowledgement, prologue, and forward, she actually thanks her family twice in almost the same exact wording. It just happens again. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Like, it's so repetitive, and this happens throughout the rest of the book. The whole thing is like this.
Well, it's a good tone setter, I would say. Sure, but
Yeah,
Paris, what is
really
the difference?
Know what you're about to
What is
encounter.
the difference between a forward, a preface, and a prologue? I've never truly understood.
Well, a prologue is it gives you events from the story that you're about to read, but just before the main story happened in time, usually, or it's like a taste of what's coming. So it's like a flashback almost. Whereas, like, a forward is not in the world of the book. It's it's in reality, and it's actually sometimes written by someone who's not the author. Most commonly, it's like somebody who read the book and, is credentialed enough to talk a little bit about it and be like, this is what you're about to read or something. Or it's the author themselves giving you a little more notes and context. Like, for example, they might say, hey, there's all these footnotes because I thought it was really important and you should read them, or blah, blah, blah. Or, like, I really want to thank this person for helping me translate. A preface, I don't know if a preface and a forward are the same thing. Let me see. The other two I just knew inherently, but
acknowledgements is pretty self-explanatory,
yeah, sure.
I find. But if a prologue is something that happens beforehand, and her prologue is just, hey, welcome to, like, the rad choice you've made by buying this book, Bienvenuto, that's not, like, a flashback to before, so it's not really a prologue. Also, why not just smash that into the preface and just have one beginning thing?
Oh, here's the other part, is she doesn't need any of this. It's just fluff to pad out
no.
page count. Like, it's very clear what's happening here. It's not an accident. Honestly, I'm not sure what the difference is between a preface and a forward. I'm sure the more literally, the more literary minded amongst listeners would know. But in any case, none of this is necessary, and it is clearly just there to pad things out, just to make you feel like you got.
I mean, you could have put in, like, the forward and the acknowledgement, right? Like, hey,
Fine.
Thanks for buying the book. This is a little bit about
Absolutely
me.
fine.
Thanks to these folks. And that's it. You don't also need to add in the preface of the prologue, which are mostly saying the same shit.
Well, and I do appreciate the author saying, hey, here's my credentials. Like, I have a graduate degree.
Yes.
Although, now, remembering that passage, I feel that's more embarrassing than like, helpful at this point, because the book is just...
If this is how you put a graduate degree into social studies or social sciences into use, that's a poorly used degree.
Yeah.
It doesn't really seem like there's deep research skills happening
I
here.
know, and I feel terrible saying that. Like, I don't want to, we're not trying to be cruel to anyone, but man, yeah, this is disappointing, I would say. Like, knowing this person has a graduate degree in social sciences and also has experience traveling. I mean, as a flight attendant, I don't really know how much culture you can experience, because you're never really in one place for a long time, is my understanding. But, she's probably been to these places, at least on a, small or short-term basis. But so I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I appreciate the telling of the credentials, because a lot of times we'll read something and be like, why should we care about this? And she tells us why we should care, but it just sucks. It's not good. Yeah. And so the construction here is the real problem. Like, the constant repetition, and also the writing is just this sort of weird template. Everything is written the same way.
And also, like, the vibe of that template is very, I mean, this is a little bit more like dialogue and prose or whatever, so we're like skipping into another category for a second, but it's, I don't know, it's like very advertisement center. I don't know how to describe it, but like everything, like, go get your thing and grab your thing and let's go on a journey to do the vibrant tapestry of this cultural. It feels like a travel ad more than like an in-depth look at a culture.
Absolutely. That is exactly how this feels. Nothing feels immersive. So yeah, and the there's a weird thing going on here where, in terms of technical construction, where we have somebody who can write a sentence, but they can't craft paragraphs or longer pieces. Like, let me just read a little bit for an example here. Just pick a random page. So,
because it's all the same.
Ah, Switzerland, you will forever hold a special place in my heart. Oh, every place is special in her heart, by the way. As we wander through the delightful tapestry of global cultures, our adventurous journey brings us to a land where precision meets beauty and cheese melts as smoothly as an alpine sunset. Welcome to Switzerland, the enchanting land of cuckoo clocks and chocolate dreams. Picture this. You're strolling through a charming Swiss village surrounded by snow-capped peaks that seem to touch the heavens. The air is crisp and invigorating, carrying the tantalizing aroma of freshly baked bread and the velvety scent of Swiss chocolate. Ah, Switzerland, where every street corner feels like a postcard brought to life. Now, let's dive into the heart of Swiss social culture. Swiss social... She always says social culture instead of culture? Swiss people are known for their impeccable punctuality. It's as if they have a secret Swiss watch embedded in their souls, ensuring that they're never a second late. Arriving fashionably late may be a trend elsewhere, but in Switzerland, timeliness is an unwritten law. So, make sure to synchronize your watches and arrive with a spring in your step. But it's not just their knack for timekeeping that makes the Swiss tick. The Swiss are also fiercely proud of their diverse regional cultures, each with its own distinct customs and traditions. So, it goes on like this.
Okay, so she brings up that phrase, cuckoo clocks and chocolate dreams, a lot. Here's a couple of examples. Switzerland, Swiss soiree, where cuckoo clocks and chocolate unite. Switzerland, the enchanting land of cuckoo clocks and chocolate dreams. Captivated by the allure of cuckoo clocks and chocolate dreams as we delve deeper into the heart of this mesmerizing country, we bid adieu to the cuckoo clocks and chocolate dreams and savor the cheesy memories we've crafted along the way.
Man.
The world of Swiss soiree, where cuckoo clocks and chocolate unite, and every bite of cheese brings us closer to the joyous tapestry of cultures.
Yeah. Also,
that's 5 times in the space of 4 pages.
Also, like, keeps describing the same thing with the same adjectives, like chocolate's always velvety and smooth and velvety. And it's that way in every country, right? This is just a microcosm of the problems.
She gets hung up on like one thing in every place.
Well, yeah, and that we're going to talk about this in writing in the prose later, but I just want to talk about how this is. I think this is just the wrong format for this type of project, because like. So you had to pay, how much did we pay for this? How much does this book cost?
$5.99.
Damn, $6. All right. Why would you pay $6 for maybe 5 to 10 pages of text about 20 countries with no images in it, when you could, for free, watch a very informative YouTube video on any of these countries?
Well, especially because the things in here aren't exactly like deep insights or anything. It's like, hey, did you know that Britain does tea real good and Japan has tea ceremonies and that there's like a Dutch Santa Claus? There's some things. I think some chapters have things that are slightly interesting or like non-obvious.
Like the Iraq chapter,
but
and
it's
Singapore, Singapore one. Yeah.
Yes. But everything is extremely surface level, and there's like only 1, maybe 2 things that are spoken about. And she talks about it as if she's showing you the rich cultural tapestry of all the different things happening in here. But it's extremely 1, maybe 2 note most of the time, which you can get by just going to the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, I can read Wikipedia for free. I can see images for free. I can watch very well-made YouTube videos about any of these countries and probably gain more insight. So I don't understand the purpose of this and why this format was chosen. I understand that the author said she likes to write, and she has a degree in social sciences, which, does include a lot of writing, so she probably thinks writing is my strong suit, but, just because you have a strong suit in one thing doesn't mean it's the right fit for every project you want to pursue, right? So I don't understand this. So this is, one of those, who the fuck is this for? Why? Who is this for? Because it's not even a travel guide, which is what I thought it was going to be, because she's like, I'm a flight attendant. I have a degree in social sciences. We're going to talk about all these countries. And I thought she was going to be like, here's where you should eat. I've eaten here. That would have been great. This isn't a travel guide. It's like a one-dimensional, less than a Wikipedia article about 20 countries. What is the purpose of this? I don't get it.
I feel it's a cash grab. It's like, I kind of know a little bit about these countries. I could write a book real quick about this.
That's capitalism again. It's capitalism again. Mm-hmm. She does mention that she lives in India and she's pissed that Canada hasn't accepted her visa and she can't move to Canada and she's real mad about it. So again, it's very clear. I will read the passage where she's like,
she's really hung up on it, actually.
I should go to that because
it's like the one time the formula is broken a little bit and the human comes out.
Bienvenue and welcome to Canada, eh? First of all, a ridiculous representation of Canada. Every Canadian I know would be offended at this representation of them, by the way.
How many times in the Jamaica chapter does she say one love, man? Come on.
The country that has persistently rejected my visa applications with the determination of a stubborn toddler. Like a modern-day toxic relationship, Canada keeps waving red flags at me. Yet here I am, hopelessly infatuated and yearning to visit this magnificent land. Through countless visa rejections, I have come to admire Canada from afar, cherishing the tales of fellow travelers and dreaming of the day when I can finally set foot on its soil. So, join me on this whimsical journey through the Great White North as we uncover the wonders that Canada holds, even if it insists on playing hard to get. She mentions it a couple other times, but that's when it's the strongest.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I understand. I feel like there are a lot of challenges to living in India, especially as a woman. I'm sure she wants to get the hell out of there. And I'm not making fun of someone for wanting to immigrate or whatever, or making fun of her for having her visa rejected. That's not what's happening. But to put it in your book like this it's not a good choice. It doesn't endear me to you. It just makes you sound like the petulant toddler that you're saying Canada is. You know? So I just don't think that's where your complaint needs to go. There's some Canadian embassy worker is not going to read this and be like, oh man, we got to fast track this shit like this.
I'm sure we can.
Not embassy, but
it's like I said, for me, it's like the one spark of humanity that I see in here that's not beholden to whatever formula she decided is the way you write books like this. All right, well, let's move on from technical construction. I feel like, Paris, just a -1 on this one, right?
Absolutely bizarre, absolutely bizarre. No, thank you. Just because you can string a sentence together does not mean you've succeeded. is my main point.
Yes. All right, so I wouldn't call this next one plot construct, but the general coherence section, let's say, for a nonfiction book.
It's directionless nonsense. I mean, the author,
yeah,
the author tries to go everywhere and ends up going nowhere as a result. I mean, we get most of the time it's just her, giving you an omniscient oh, this is about this place, but then we randomly get sort of characters and we don't know who they are, where they came from. At one point in the France chapter, she's like, the infamous Emily, and you're like, who's the infamous Emily?
Who?
What are you talking about? It's just one or two sentences, and then we drop it all together. In the Korea chapter, the South Korea chapter, suddenly there's a point of view character named Jessica, and we have no clue.
Why? There's no, she's oh, Jessica gets off the plane in South Korea, and she thinks about the hanbok, which is the thing that the author is focused on, in that every chapter has one thing that she talks about. It's the tango in Argentina. It's the hanbok in Korea. It's fucking cheese and chocolate in Switzerland. Like that, she decided she has the one thing. She's just going to really harp on that the whole time, and that's going to give you the rich tapestry. Yeah. Also, like, to me, some chapters, not all of them, but I think most of them, towards the end, will all of a sudden veer off into, like, once upon a time, there was Carlos the coffee bean.
That's just the Portugal
and
chapter,
he went on
which is our favorite.
No, it happens in a couple of, like, Carlos the coffee bean isn't in every chapter, but there's always, like, a legend or, like, a fairy tale that happens in the handful. There totally is.
Hang on. I mean,
You blacked out hard on this one, didn't you?
During this reading, I was sending Chris voice notes over Messenger where I was crying from laughter because I just couldn't handle what was happening. I felt like I was trapped in a horrible loop. Let me see if I can find one of these that you're talking about. Well, the Santa Claus ones are both like that. The Dutch
Germany. Once upon a time, in a land not so far away, the magical tradition of Christmas markets found its roots in the mystic blah, blah, blah. Mexico. Once upon a time, in the mystical land of Mexico, there lived a melting pot of cultures.
Mystical. They're all mystical.
Portugal. Once upon a time, in the magical land of Portugal, there lived a mischievous coffee bean named Carlos. Japan. Once upon a time, in ancient Japan, when samurais roamed the land and cherry blossoms danced in the wind. Argentina. Once upon a time, in the wild and untamed lands of Argentina, a group of fearless gauchos roamed the vast plains. Canada. Once upon a time, in the frosty realms of Canada, there lived a group of resourceful souls. Iraq. Once upon a time, in the mystical land of Mesopotamia, where rivers flowed like liquid gold.
Yeah, there's a...
Australia. Once upon a time, in the land of the sun. I'm not done. Surfing Vegemite sandwiches. There emerged a legendary figure. Netherlands. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away. Well, actually, just a few centuries ago in the Netherlands. Russia. Once upon a time, in the mystical land of Russia, where snowflakes danced in the air like enchanted fairies. South Korea. Once upon a time, in the magical land of South Korea, a fashion revolution was brewing. India. Once upon a time, in the mystical land of India, where elephants roamed and peacocks danced. It happened a lot, Paris.
Right. But can we talk about Carlos and the Bean Knights, or do we want to wait?
Yes, we can fucking talk about Carlos and the Bean Knight right now, because that's a big point as to where I lost my mind in this book as far as coherence goes.
I was sending you the crying voice notes in chapter 7. That's when I broke with
the
reality.
Portugal chapter. Yes, I messaged you beforehand. I said the Portugal chapter will rip your soul from your body, and you were like, "How is this possible?"
And then it happened, and then I was sent.
And then it happened.
I was sent to hell, to space hell. I was on Event Horizon. That's what happened. It sent me to Event Horizon.
Where we're going, you don't need eyes or sanity. So the Portugal chapter, it starts off like where she's really harping on Cristiano Ronaldo a lot for I don't know what reason. She's like,
read it, Chris.
Did you know Cristiano Ronaldo? She's like, Cristiano Ronaldo, famous soccer player, Cristiano Ronaldo.
This is okay, Portugal. Welcome to chapter 7. By the way, I think it wasn't chapter 7, or was it?
No, that's the one where it actually is chapter 7.
Oh, okay, sorry. Welcome to chapter 7 of our adventure through the vibrant tapestry of social cultures around the world. You'll recognize those phrases, vibrant tapestry and social culture, anyway. And what better place to land than in the sunny embrace of Portugal, the very own chapter 7 of our exploration. Yeah, you just told us it was chapter 7. We can see in the table of contents. Thank you. The whimsical wonders of synchronicity. Just like the legendary Cristiano Ronaldo, who dons the iconic CR7 jersey, Portugal is ready to showcase its unique charm. Step into this delightful journey where every alleyway leads to a new discovery and every street corner hums with its own story. As we dive into the cultural kaleidoscope that is Portugal, prepare yourself for a joyful blend of traditions, gastronomy, and that unmistakable Portuguese spirit that has captured the hearts of millions worldwide. Through infamous colonialism, I mean, picture this. Picture this. You're walking along the cobbled streets of Lisbon, the city where history and innovation do the tango of their own, much like Ronaldo dazzling us with his football skills on the pitch. Here,
come on, man.
Facades of pastel-colored buildings form the backdrop for a lively mosaic of social interactions. It's like witnessing a CR7 free kick goal full of anticipation, finesse, and an eruption of collective excitement. Oh, but Portugal has so much more to offer than its soccer prowess. By the way, I'm being ridiculous. I'm not making fun of Portugal. I just want to be clear that I'm trying to be a stupid fucking travel hack advertisement. All right. Prepare your taste buds for a culinary adventure like no other. From the irresistible aroma of freshly baked pasta de nata to the symphony of flavors that burst forth from a simple dish of bacalhau bra. Portuguese cuisine will make your taste buds cheer in unison, just like Ronaldo's adoring fans echoing CR7 chants.
Lady! Is this the one Portuguese person you know?
Let's not forget the Portuguese people themselves, the true soul of this captivating country. Their warm hospitality is as legendary as Ronaldo's status as a football icon. Like a supportive team.
We're not skipping sentences. It's right there.
Like a supportive team, they cheer you on in life's game, urging you to triumph over any challenge that comes your way. It's as if the spirit of CR7's number 7 oh, crying again, oh no, has seeped into the very fabric of Portuguese society, inspiring resilience, creativity, and a touch of playful spontaneity. As you wander through the sun-drenched vineyards of the Douro Valley, or immerse yourself in the wild beauty of the Azores, you'll witness the deep connection that the Portuguese people have with their land. It's a bond that resonates with Ronaldo's unwavering loyalty to his country, where every goal scored is a testament to national pride. So let's run towards and get ready to explore the enchanting world of Portugal, a place where tradition and innovation dance hand in hand, where hearty laughter and heartfelt conversations fill the air, just like Ronaldo's electrifying performances on the field. Portugal's social culture
I get it,
promises to
lady.
leave you breathless, captivated, and eagerly awaiting the next chapter of this extraordinary journey. All right, authors, here's a tip. If you really gotta jerk off to it before you write for the day, you don't want the horniness to seep in this deep into your work.
Was she like getting paid by the Ronaldo mention on this one?
I'm not done, by the way. Buckle up and let's dive into the unique wonders of Portugal, our beloved Chapter 7 in this marvelous adventure of cultures. One cultural aspect that's as uniquely Portuguese as Cristiano Ronaldo's.
It's Cristiano Ronaldo. Much like Cristiano Ronaldo is very Cristiano Ronaldo.
As Cristiano Ronaldo's mesmerizing football skills is the glorious art of bicavela, the age-old tradition of coffee making. Step aside, espresso aficionados, because Portugal has taken caffeine creativity to a whole new level. Imagine yourself sitting in a charming Lisbon cafe, ready to embark on a taste bud adventure. You order a simple coffee, expecting the usual dose of energy to kickstart your day. But wait! Hold on to your hats! In Portugal, coffee is not just a coffee. It's an experience that'll leave your taste buds doing a happy samba. As the barista, with the precision of Ronaldo's immaculate free kicks, the delicate process
It hurts now. Now it hurts.
of brewing your cup of joe, you can't help but notice the ceremonious flair they bring to the table. It's like watching a masterful performance where every move is executed with finesse, style, and a dash of Portuguese charm. First, the coffee beans, carefully selected like Ronaldo scouts talent on the field, are ground to perfection.
Does Ronaldo scout the talent? I don't think he's the scout. You're just... he's not even that.
The heavenly aroma fills the air, enveloping you in anticipation. Then, a shiny silver machine resembling a miniature spaceship takes center stage. With a series of hisses, steam dances gracefully, frothing the milk into a velvety cloud that could rival Ronaldo's perfectly styled hair.
Come on,
She's
man.
about to come, guys.
You've got to stop. You've got to stop. I feel like I'm intruding on something here.
Okay, that's the end of the Cristiano stuff. I'm crying.
There's like 2 paragraphs.
Oh, God, it's
okay,
so
I'm going
long.
to take the rest of the chapter. We're skipping 2 paragraphs, so we're not reading the whole chapter here. I'm going to skip to the part about she's talking about the coffee, and now she's going to give you the context of where such good coffee came
And
from.
I just want to say, like, growing up around a bunch of people from the Azores, I was like, Portugal has good coffee? Because the mainland and the Azores are so different. But again, she doesn't talk about that at all. She says the Azores exist one time, but then it's just like, mainland Portugal, fuck the Azores. Anyway, yeah, so coffee being like a big thing in Portugal was actually new to me. So I learned a thing. But anyway, let's talk about this, Chris. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to just take us away on this passage. I already gave you the beginning of it in my Once Upon a Time rant, so I'm just going to start there.
Start there, please. Again,
so she's
Once Upon a Time us.
Yeah, she's talking about, or she's going to give you an idea of why this Bica Velha thing came about. Once upon a time in the magical land of Portugal, there lived a mischievous coffee bean named Carlos. Carlos was no ordinary bean. He had an insatiable passion for adventure and a natural talent for making people smile. He dreamed of creating a coffee that would become the stuff of legends, a drink that would bring joy to the hearts of all who tasted it. One day, while exploring the hidden nooks and crannies of Lisbon's bustling streets, Carlos stumbled upon a secret coffee guild, guarded by a quirky group of baristas known as the Bean Knights. These coffee connoisseurs had dedicated their lives to perfecting the art of brewing, seeking the ultimate balance of flavors and textures. Captivated by their dedication, Carlos hatched a plan. He would become the hero of coffee, crafting a beverage that would surpass all expectations. With a leap of faith, he joined forces with the Bean Knights, embarking on a quest to create the perfect cup of joe. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, as Carlos and the Bean Knights toiled away, experimenting with countless combinations of beans, roasts, and brewing methods. They traveled to faraway lands in search of rare and exotic coffee beans, encountering whimsical creatures and overcoming unexpected challenges along the way. Finally, one fateful night beneath a sky dotted with stars that shone as brightly as Ronaldo's trophies, the Bean Knights unveiled their masterpiece, Bica Velha, the coffee of legends. This extraordinary brew was unlike anything the world had ever tasted. Its flavors danced on the tongue, revealing notes of caramel, hazelnut, and a touch of magic. Word spread like wildfire, and soon people from all corners of the world flocked to Portugal to experience the wonder of Bica Velha. Cafes buzzed with laughter, conversations flowed freely, and friendships were forged over steaming cups of this enchanting elixir. It symbolized Portuguese culture, a testament to the country's unwavering spirit and love for life. To honor their beloved Carlos and the legacy of Bica Velha, the people of Portugal embraced a joyful ritual. With every sip of this heavenly brew, they raised their cups and toasted, exclaiming, "Viva Carlos, the mighty bean! Viva Bica Velha, the potion of happiness!" And so to this day, the spirit of Carlos and the Bean Knights lives on, brewing up joy and camaraderie in every cup of Bica Velha. It reminds us all that in the land of Portugal, where creativity knows no bounds and passion infuses every aspect of life, even a humble coffee bean can become a legend, and a single sip can transport us to a world of flavor, laughter, and cherished moments. Paris, after I read this, I went to Google and I typed in Carlos Bean Knights.
You beat me to it.
To see if perhaps this was a local story or fairy tale in Portugal, that maybe this would be an insight into like the small details of Portugal culture. There's no fucking Carlos or Bean Knights. There's none. This is just a thing that she made. Why would you just put a story?
I don't know. Why would you?
That you made up in here.
And you're like, the Portuguese people honor their beloved Carlos and the legacy of Bica Velha.
No, they do not.
Yeah, so I am okay. I have a couple of theories about this. Theory one is, in her travels, she met someone in Portugal who fucking hated her, and they told her this was a thing. And she was like, "Oh yeah."
It's like, will you shut the fuck up about Cristiano Ronaldo, please?
And she was like, "Hell yeah, I got a story for my book," and she has no idea that this is just bullshit someone made up to like get her to shut up or something. Two is she made this. I don't know. There was like a misinterpretation of something. She was told. They could also be that. But my third theory, and probably the more likely, is she asked ChatGPT to do a little work for her, which she did for a lot of this book, I think.
Oh, she asked. Charlie Greg Peters. She has good old Charlie Greg
Yeah,
Peters, Professor Charlie Greg Peters.
Charlie Greg Peters the third. Yeah, he's a good reference. So it smells like you said, "Hey, Chat GPT, can you write me a fairy tale about coffee with Carlos and the Bean Knights or something?" And like, it just shit this out. And she was like, "All right, So I'm not sure which it is, but in any case, I mean, I asked people I know who are Portuguese, and they were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I was like, "Okay."
What do you mean, Carlos and the Bean Knights?
And like, so we tried to do some Googling. I asked people I know who are Portuguese, and we came up with nothing. So I don't know. I'm very confused by this. It was absolutely bizarre.
I think a lot of the stuff in later chapters that was Once Upon a Time is the same thing, because I Googled one or two more, and they're like, it wasn't anything.
Wait, no, all the other Once Upon a Times, though, they're not like a story. That's just like the structure she uses for the sentence.
One or two of them are. One or two of them are, indeed.
Man, I was really Event Horizon early in this book. I ripped out my own eyes. See you later.
You can't read anymore.
I'm safe now. No one can touch me here.
Okay, so I think the Portugal chapter reading here gave you guys a pretty good idea of what's going on here. Yeah. There's coherence in that there is this very clear formula, and you can really expect to see that over and over and over again. But the deviations into fairy tales or legends that seemed wholesale made up for the most part.
No, because like the Santa Claus stuff and the May Day stuff wasn't completely made up, but that was factual. But this one story, I can't imagine how this is real or why this is here. I mean, the other big problem here is, despite her graduate degree in social sciences and her travel through being a flight attendant, she doesn't explain anything. She just mentions a lot of things and words for these countries. But okay, so for example, again, in the Portugal chapter, she says, excuse me, this is actually right after Chris finished his Carlos and the Bean Knight story, so I'm going to pick up there. And so we reach the delightful conclusion of our Portuguese escapade, our whimsical Chapter 7, filled with cultural treasures and coffee-fueled adventures. Portugal, with its vibrant social customs and enchanting Bica Velha, has woven its way into our hearts like Ronaldo, skillfully weaving through defenders on the football pitch.
Come on, stop it. Just okay. At this point, I'm really annoyed. I'm so annoyed.
I just want you all to know that there was a page turn there, and I actually didn't know that sentence was going to end with another Ronaldo callback. So great surprise for me. All right. As we bid farewell to the land of saudade, fado, and unforgettable flavors, let us carry with us the spirit of Portugal, a spirit that dances in the streets, sings in the cafes, and whispers through the golden rays of the sun. Let us embrace the resilience, creativity, and passion that define Portuguese culture, just as Ronaldo embodies the epitome of dedication and triumph. Okay, so other than the Ronaldo craziness, saudade and fado, she never even tells us what those things are. Does she?
She mentions, hey, Cristiano Ronaldo is a Portuguese guy. That his spirit lives on the Portuguese people. Here's a made-up story about Carlos and the Bean Knights. You're welcome for this delightful tapestry of Portuguese culture that I've woven for you, half of which is entirely made up, and another half is me just saying a guy's name and comparing him to things.
Right, because again, like, what is saudade? What is fado? We don't... I mean, I know what those are, but that's because I grew up amongst Portuguese people. Most people who pick up this book did not, right? So, and this happens in every chapter. She just throws in words, and you're just like, if the purpose of this is to immerse us, why wouldn't you explain these foreign concepts that are integral to the countries that you're trying to immerse us in? I don't understand. All right, Chris. You know what? Let me just read the end of this chapter. I think I just want to keep.
Yeah. We're leaving out one or two paragraphs in between where you read and where I read.
As we close this chapter, let us remember the tales of Carlos, the adventurous coffee bean, and the brave bean knights who gifted the world with the magic of Bica Velha. May their story inspire us to seek out our own extraordinary adventures, to find joy in the smallest moments, and to infuse our lives with a touch of whimsy and laughter. As we turn the page to explore new horizons, let us carry the vibrant spirit of Portugal in our hearts. Let us seek out new cultures, embrace new experiences, and find beauty in the diversity that surrounds us. Remember, just as the number 7 shines brightly in Ronaldo's jersey, so too does the essence of Portugal radiate with its own unique charm. Let it be a reminder that within each culture, there are treasures waiting to be discovered, stories waiting to be told, and adventures waiting to be embraced. So, onward we go to new chapters, new cultures, and new delights. As we bid farewell to Portugal, let us cherish the memories we've made and carry the spirit of Pica Velha with us, wherever our wanderlust may take us. With joyful hearts and a zest for life, let us embark on the next leg of our journey, eager to unravel the social cultures that await us in the far corners of the globe. Until then, remember to always embrace the magic that lies within each cultural tapestry, just as Ronaldo embraces the challenge of a new match. Stay curious, stay adventurous.
What is wrong with you?
And stay ready for the wonders that await us in the next chapter of our delightful odyssey through the social cultures of the world. Off we go to write new tales and explore new lands. Bon voyage and cheers to the incredible journey that lies ahead.
She just took like 5 sentences to say we're moving on.
Those were several paragraphs, small paragraphs that I read.
Okay, I mean, so I think that's a really great microcosm of what's going on here. Why are you patting yourself on the back for like revealing the rich cultural tapestry when all you pointed to was a story about a bean that you made up? That's not at all.
And basically telling us, oh hey, Portugal has really good coffee. Like they care about that. Okay, that's cool. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, sure.
Despite growing up with people from Portugal, that was something I didn't know. But now I'm like questioning whether I should believe her, right? Like after Carlos of the Bean Knights, I feel like you've lost credibility with this court. You've lost all credibility.
I've learned 2 facts about Portugal. They got some coffee, and Cristiano Ronaldo is from there. That's what I know now.
I'm going to tell you right now, I actually thought Cristiano Ronaldo was Brazilian. I did not know he was Portuguese.
Hold on. You know what? Just for a second. I'm just going to... Cristiano Ronaldo. If he's fucking Brazilian, I'm going to kill myself.
No, I mean, he has to be Portuguese. I mean, it would be insane if he wasn't Portuguese.
Yes, he's a Portuguese professional footballer.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't know, because I don't know anything about... I don't follow football, and now I definitely won't. That hatred has been sown deep within me.
Listen, we shit on a lot of things here right now, and I just want to say that there were some chapters that brought my attention to things that I would not have known about or were kind of interesting.
Sure.
So, in particular, there's a chapter on Iraq, which I was worried about when I turned that page and I saw that as the header at the time. I was like, there's no way she's treating this sensitively. But she goes on to describe a practice of kilake, which is sort of you balance a clay pot on your head and you try to do elaborate moves or dances or things while you balance the clay pot on your head. And that's a perfect example of something you should be including in a book like this, right? Like a little known thing that is a tradition or some sort of thing that commonly happens in that area that is pretty unique to it and can inform you a lot about like how the culture works over there. So I just want to say that there are glimmers of things of what this could have been. It's not like we even go that deep into what is going on with Kalake, except for families dance around with clay pots on their heads and friends get together.
Bad news. I'm not finding that this is real.
What the fuck?
Although I'm going to say
what do you mean?
This is probably a mistranslation or something, because that term doesn't exist. I'm going to try Iraqi pot dancing.
Just please, Paris, if I find out that the one thing that I thought was a neat detail isn't a thing.
Okay, let me see. Iraqi tradition. Dance with pot on head. I just decided to look up the term because I was like, I wonder. There is some kind of dancing with a pot on your head, but it looks very, very like choreographed. It doesn't look like a casual thing around a fire as is depicted. Oh man, I'm not finding this. I'm getting a little concerned.
I'm really not finding anything either here, Paris.
This has got to be a translation.
I'm about to get real upset. Chris is getting real upset here, Paris. This has got to be a translation
error, because a lot of times when Arabic gets anglicized, it gets mangled, like a lot of languages in the world, but particularly languages where the alphabet is that different. So, okay, traditional. I am seeing women dancing with pots on their head, and it's called Chari. Oh, this is Indian. This isn't Iraqi. Oh, man. Maybe it's a game. Maybe it's a game and not a dance, because it does sound like a game more than a dance. It's described as a dance, but it's more of a game.
I am desperately searching on Google for anything that this might be,
The first
Paris.
thing that came up in my last search was the story of Let Me Solo Her, explained.
Okay, that's definitely not what we're looking for.
That guy's character has a pot on his head. That's why that came up. I am astounded right now.
I'm seeing an article from ArabNews.com about like how Iraqi pottery is like suffering in the wake of like imported plastics.
Okay.
But that has nothing to do with this practice.
I am stumped. Listeners who are from Iraq or have family there or know anything about traditional games in the Middle East, let us know if this sounds familiar, but like we're both coming up with a whole lot of nothing, and I again, maybe this could just be a transliteration.
I am so fucking mad about this now, because how am I supposed to believe anything in this book? Anything at fucking all.
Even if it's spelled differently, I mean, Kelaik is a name of a village in Sudan. That's not anywhere near where we're talking about. That is an entirely different continent. Hang on. Game where you balance. We can cut some of this out, but I just...
This is staying in as an example of this. So, Paris, this has cemented for me that this is 1,000,000% AI.
Okay. Karagatam is a form of traditional dance where there is a pot-like object called karagam kept on the head and the person dancing while balancing it, but it doesn't say it's... Honestly, even that result came up as sort of gibberish.
So I'm seeing this in other, like, it's like an Indian or Pakistani thing under different names, that there's like traditional clay pot on head dances.
Yeah, actually, same. What I'm talking about, the Karagatam thing, is from Tamil Nadu in India. What?
Also a bonga dance?
I am very confused. Okay, well...
Let's just chalk this up to someone used AI and didn't really check, is what I think happened here.
We're about to get into that in the next section, so that might be more fuel for my little AI fire over here.
Okay. So let's say, are you ready to score the coherence section
fucking
here?
-1, get out of here. This is terrible.
-1. Hard -1 on
here.
This one.
Oh, all right, hang on. I need some more sanity juice. That's coffee. That's Bicavella for those of you at home.
Yeah. Did Carlos the Bean Knight provide you with...
You know, I didn't even question that phrase, and now I'm questioning everything. Bicavella. It's a restaurant!
Bicavella
it's the name of a fucking restaurant in Portugal. I'm so mad right now. I'm so mad. This is definitely ChatGPT written. Holy shit. I mean, obviously restaurants can be named after things or phrases, but like... Alright, I'm gonna go to this website's page and see what it says about its name. Oh, Bika is coffee.
Old Spout is what Google is telling me.
So old coffee.
Old Spout, specifically.
Old coffee. But is that actually associated with the tradition of coffee making?
I don't know.
Because
I don't know anything anymore,
was
Paris.
saying that bica velha is the term for coffee making in Portugal because it's so important to them, and I am not seeing that that's true at all, and I think that was also completely made up.
According to CollinsDictionary.com,
I don't know who Colin
bica is a word for black coffee or espresso.
Yeah, that's what D said. It just meant coffee. Like, over time, it has come to mean coffee, even though literally I think it means spout. But bica velha, the only thing that comes up is that fucking restaurant. I feel like if this was a traditional phrase that was important to a country, it would come up in a fucking Google search, Chris.
Yes, it would. Velha, I'm saying, just means old. So perhaps it means like old coffee.
Style coffee or something.
Yes. Okay, so we're finding out that even the facts that we're presented with here are not factual at all.
Wow. I'm actually surprised by this. I'm surprised by both of these. I thought the Iraqi pot dance game was real, and I also thought bica velha was a real...
I fully bought it, Paris.
What a travesty. Can you... Passing this shit off... I'm leaving some... we could be wrong about some things. Google is not the be-all, end-all, right? But, it
is not.
Generally speaking, you can usually find basic facts in there about, well-known cultural traditions. Usually that's something you can find in a Google search or, on Wikipedia. So I'm a little mad right now.
Listen, if we can be proven otherwise that these are legit things, please pipe up and correct us on this.
Please tell us that we're wrong. I would love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong about this.
Okay, Paris. I think we got to move on into prose here on this one because we've scored -1 on the coherence. And I think, honestly, this was going to be a quick one because we gave all the examples in the previous section.
So remember when I told you I didn't think the search was working? The search in the book doesn't work for phrases or for, short words. I don't know why. If you type in so or get ready, it doesn't come up with anything. But if you type in, Kilake, the supposed pot dance that might not be real, that does come up.
Get ready is working for me.
I don't know why it's not working for me. So how many get readies do you have?
37.
That's actually not as many as I thought there'd be.
I will remind that not as many, but I will remind you there's only 20 chapters in the book, so there's at least 2 get readies per chapter.
And what's the page count on this? There's not that many pages. If you discount
170 pages.
That many. So that's a high rate of the same phrase over and over again. How about tapestry and kaleidoscope? What do you got for that?
Yeah, let's check out tapestry here. Tapestry appears 91 times.
Oh my god, that's incredible. Ah. Kaleidoscope?
90, that's over one, but every 2 pages you're getting 1.1 or 1.2 tapestries happening here.
That's such a high rate of tapestry. It's a lot of tapestry. Kaleidoscope?
I feel
like that's going to be lower, maybe 12 or 15.
22 kaleidoscopes. Some restraint is shown on kaleidoscope. But that's a word that shouldn't be appearing 22 times in a 170-page book.
Once upon a time? Can you give me once upon a time? How many did we get there? 15?
Something like
15.
Let me check that one out here. 12 on that one. So
right. What about so, comma? Can you search for that? Because it wasn't letting me search for that one.
Yeah, sometimes if it's a short phrase, I'm going to try with quotation marks.
Or with and without the comma, see if you get anything.
Yeah, so that... How about this? I'll do and so.
Okay.
Which isn't all of them.
Yeah, that's only partial. It's a partial so count.
So some of this has and socials and so this isn't also a very good articulation of that. But let me do some quick math here because it gives me 42, and I'm just going to subtract some here. 20. So there are 22 and so's here. So it happens in every chapter.
That's not including just the just the comma.
Yes,
which
exactly.
is probably twofold, right? So
Okay.
we're probably looking at 40.
So while the search
44.
function isn't perfect here, you're still getting the picture, I think, of how repetitive this shit is.
Oh, man.
Can we also talk about, very briefly, before we move into, I need to mention, we talked about how many get-readies there were, but it is the placement of the get-readies that really gets my goat, Paris. You will be midway through a chapter. Like, she's already talked about fucking Cristiano Ronaldo or, like, you know, Sinterklaas a little bit in the Netherlands chapter. And then she's like, so get ready to experience the vibrant culture. Like, bitch, I've been ready. My shoes are on. I'm out the door.
I'm in the snow. I'm with the Santa.
We're in the car. We've been here for hours together. I am ready. I have been ready.
You know, and I was going to say, oh, we're sort of straying. But you know what? This author didn't give us structure, so fuck it. We're going to say whatever we want, wherever we want in this rubric. The rubric doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
We're in the dialogue and prose section over here, and I think the repetition.
Oh, prose. We're about to prose a little bit because there's some other. We spent a lot of time in Portugal. We talked a little bit about some of the other chapters, but I want to talk about the England chapter. Because the England chapter is, I want to say, like, kind of silly. And it starts off with, like, oh my God, the British and their tea. And, like, an Indian woman writing this, but saying nothing about how Britain's tea came from India and was taken through colonialism. And, like, Indian tea has such a strong political tilt. Like I just can't believe that an Indian author is just like, oh yeah, the British and their tea, they're so good at making a cuppa. And it just hurt me. And I'm not Indian. I'm a white person. And I was like, damn, that's painful. Like, which also makes me think that this was assembled with the help of robots and she didn't look it over. Because how? You're really going to tell me she's going to be like, oh yeah, the British really got tea right? You grew up in the land of tea that they stole from. Why would you be like, oh yeah, the colonizers, they figured it out?
And you have a graduate degree in social sciences.
In social sciences.
That's never come up before for you?
Nope, never thought about colonialism, not for 1 second. Just fucking
the Australia chapter is all about, like, those Australian battlers, like, going across the outback. It's like no mention of any Aboriginal anything whatsoever.
Oh, same with Canada. There's no mention of the indigenous people that were colonized and murdered en masse. Just like, oh, those early Canadian settlers, man, they're so hardy. Oh boy, they sure can live through winter. Gosh, gee. You know, and I'm not saying that every publication has to be intensely, like, political and talk about, like, racial strife and stuff, but if you're telling me that you're going to give me the flavor of a place, the flavor of England is colonial. The flavor of Australia is fucking colonial. The flavor of Canada, by way of Britain and France, also quite colonial. The flavor of Portugal, guess what? Colonial.
So, like, you're not even trying to include the native peoples in this rich tapestry. You're 91 mentions of rich tapestries, and you're not including any sort of...
Excuse me, Chris. 91 mentions of tapestry. She didn't tell us they were all rich.
I'm sorry. Yeah, okay.
They could have been. Some of them could have been threadbare.
This threadbare tapestry that I presented you with.
All right, so after the pick-me colonial tea shenanigans, the Britain chapter continues, and it starts off with this, like, really outdated reference to the movie Notting Hill, which, like, came out a long time ago, and is not a cultural touchstone for Britain, by the way. Like, again, I know people who live there. This is not a notable film for them. This book came out in 2023, and I think Notting Hill came out in 99. In 99.
Seminal.
Why is a movie from 1999 like an American film from 1999. Somehow you're like, ooh, Britain.
Because it's got Hugh Grant in it, and that's the British guy, I suppose.
Well, it's got Hugh Grant, and Notting Hill is such an iconic neighborhood, and she tells us that over and over again. Okay, I'm gonna read you a couple of sections that are separated in the book, like they're in the Britain chapter, to be clear. And you're going to see what we mean, because maybe some of you are like, oh, maybe just the Portugal chapter. Maybe she was just so horny for Cristiano Ronaldo that the Portugal chapter went off the rails and the rest of them are actually fine. No. Okay. In our exploration of England's social culture, again with the social culture, we stumble upon a delightfully and utterly unique aspect that embodies the nation's vibrant spirit and ancient traditions. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to be whisked away into the world of Morris dancing and the enchantment of May Day revelry. Imagine yourself in a picturesque English village where the scent of blooming flowers hangs in the air and the sound of bells and lively music echo through the cobbled streets.
Social cultures is mentioned 86 times in this book.
Okay. All right. Gonna go back. Social culture 86. Great. Moving back to the read. And the sound of bells and lively music echo through the cobbled streets. It's the first day of May, and the locals are gearing up for a centuries-old celebration that has stood the test of time. As the sun rises, the community gathers to honor the arrival of spring and bid farewell to the dreary grip of winter. At the heart of this exuberant festivity lies Morris dancing. Chris, you want to do a quick Google for me on that? A traditional folk dance that dates back to the Middle Ages.
On it?
Picture a group of men and women, adorned in colorful costumes with handkerchiefs fluttering and bells jingling on their ankles, moving in a synchronized rhythm. Their feet stomp the ground and their bodies twirl with infectious energy, as if channeling the very essence of nature awakening from its slumber. It's a spectacle that exudes joy, unity, and a touch of whimsy. Morris dancing is more than just an art form. It's a celebration of community and a way to connect with England's rich agricultural heritage. Also, side note, England and Britain, two different things. The dancers often perform in town squares, village greens, or even pubs, inviting onlookers to join in the revelry. It's a testament to the inclusive nature of English culture, where people from all walks of life come together to embrace tradition and forge bonds that transcend time. Now, as the merry dancers weave their patterns, the May Queen takes center stage. Adorned in a floral crown and draped in ribbons, she symbolizes the arrival of spring's regal splendor. The May Day revelry continues with the crowning of the May King, what? Is that a thing? Who stands proudly by her side, representing fertility and growth. Together, they lead the procession through the village, spreading cheer and merriment as they go. I don't know, man. I've seen Midsummer. The May King doesn't do so well.
Morris dancing is legit, by the way. That's a real thing.
All right.
The May Queen is traditionally a local girl chosen. Some villages will also crown a May King. Usually the first boy to race to the hawthorn or May tree. This is according to birmingham.gov.uk.
Okay, that sounds legitimate. Anyway, I know that Midsummer is Swedish. I'm just kidding, because that's a cultural touchstone. Since we're just randomly throwing in cultural touchstones from any point.
We got to check in on everything
past.
now. I can't trust anything that's happening here.
Throughout the day, the community indulges in various festivities, from lively music and dancing to maypole weaving and the feasting of traditional delicacies. Doesn't tell us what maypole weaving is. Laughter fills the air, and the spirit of camaraderie envelops everyone, as if time slows down for a moment, allowing them to relish the simple pleasures and ancient customs that have been passed down through generations. It's in these cherished moments that we witness the true beauty of England's cultural fabric. Morris dancing and May Day revelry exemplify the nation's ability to blend the old with the new, preserving tradition while embracing a sense of joy and togetherness. It's a tapestry woven with the threads of community spirit, shared heritage, and deep-rooted connection to the land. As we capture the lively May Day festivities and the rhythmic twirls of Morris dancing, we carry with us a piece of England's social culture that sets it apart from the rest. Let your feet tap to the beat of ancient rhythms and your heart be filled with the warmth of community as you embrace the eccentricities that make England truly extraordinary. Now, let's set the dial on your time-traveling machine, my adventurous friend, and journey back to a time when doublets and breeches were all the rage, and the words twerking and flossing were nowhere to be found in the cultural lexicon. We find ourselves smack dab in the heart of medieval England, where peasants and nobles alike were ready to let loose and shake their tail feathers. Well, perhaps not actual feathers, but you catch my drift. Okay, so does it not feel like to you that we have explained the May Day festivities and the Morris dancing, and we're now moving on to another topic, right?
Yes.
Well, the very next paragraph, Morris dancing is the lively dance form that has captured the imagination of generations. It's said that the origins of this vibrant spectacle can be traced back to the good old Middle Ages when folks needed a break from plowing the fields and battling the occasional dragon. Just kidding, dragons were on holiday that century. Picture this, a group of merry souls clad in tunics and blah blah blah. Okay, legend has it that Morris dancing was actually taught to humans by an ancient clan of woodland creatures. And then they keep talking about Morris dancing and we mustn't forget the May Day revelry, the merry celebration that perfectly complements the sprightly steps of Morris dancing. Back in ye old times, folks were all too eager to bid adieu to the chilly grip of winter and welcome the arrival of spring. And what better way to do than by crowning a May Queen and King, dancing around a maypole, and generally frolicking with abandon. The May Queen with her floral crown, the May King. Again, she talks about the same topics again.
It's literally the same thing.
Yep. And this happens multiple times where it's the same general idea or topic, but just slightly different wording. So again, I was like, fuck this. I think this is AI. I think this is ChatGPT. So I ran this through 10 different detectors. I just sort of took a random sample. I mean, I just really went for it. 10 different ones. And mind you, I had to manually transcribe and type out each section because you can't copy and paste from a fucking Kindle doc. So I did it, transcribed 2 different paragraphs from 2 different sections of the book, thinking, let's just give it 2 very different samples. They all said this is likely AI written to 100% AI written. So the percentages varied from like 55, 57%, but most of them, 7 out of the 10, said it was 90 to 100% AI.
All right. I mean, I'm not going to fully trust most AI detectors because that technology is still a little wonky. But, like, I don't know if a lot of them are kind of agreeing that it's at least 50%. And also our human detection of AI is kind of going off here. I'm willing, and especially with the wholesale making up of an Iraqi tradition, it seems like.
Yeah. And again, I hope we're wrong about that and that it's actually just a weird transcription error and it is real. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. And I don't know what came first, right? Did she use ChatGPT and say, hey, here's some ideas I have. Can you make this longer? or maybe she was like, hey, tell me about England. And then she took that and like edited what ChatGPT gave her. I don't know. But there was not enough refinement. And like AI writing is not for finished products. It's to help you generate ideas. I really hate AI. I don't think anyone should be using it for like the resources it takes up and a lot of other ethical dilemmas, but we're not going to talk about that too much. But I'm just going to say, if you are someone who has chosen to use it, do not use it to create finished products. If you're going to use it for idea generation, fine. But once it sparks something in you, you take that yourself and you write original material with it. Like, there's nothing wrong with being inspired by things. And if you're inspired by something, a ChatGPT, thing shoots out at you, fine. But inspired by, we're not just taking it and publishing it and saying it's ours. And again, I can't prove this. Like Chris said, I also don't know how accurate these like AI or ChatGPT writing checkers are. But I feel like there's enough circumstantial evidence here to convict in a civil trial, right? Like, we need to be on a reasonable doubt, but we need to be like 51% sure. I feel like I'm there.
I do also feel like there, especially, again, I'm really mad about that Iraq chapter.
I'm just mad about this entirely. I mean, again, I'm just mad about so many things. Okay, can we just score dialogue and prose and then continue?
-1.
There was no...
Easily,
there was
-1.
I guess I was just going to say, there was no dialogue. There were random linguistic phrases thrown in, and now I am questioning every single one I saw. I mean, there was one that was assigned to, like, the wrong country, which was weird.
There was a point in the Scotland chapter, like she's doing the Scottish accents through the whole entire chapter.
Oh, it's horrible. It's heinous.
And then at one point she throws in a me hearties, which, to my understanding, that's more pirate than Scottish, right?
that's a pirate term, not a Scottish
I'm sure that there's
term.
Scottish pirates. I'm sure maybe that's who came up with it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and then at the end of, like, hang on, I know I took a note on it. Let me find it. Right, so the Russia chapter is concluding, and she says, Gesundheit, and you're like...
No, wrong.
That's not even close.
That's not no.
I mean, she is talking about sneezing, but why wouldn't you use the Russian phrase to kind of close out a sneeze?
She does
I'm not
use
sure what they say.
the Russian phrase earlier, which I know, you know what? It might not be the same. In Poland, you say na zdrowie when someone sneezes.
Oh yeah, na zdrowie. Yeah. What is
Same thing like when you do like raise a glass. And like Russia and Poland have very similar linguistic kind of origins. It's not exactly the same all the time, but I'm willing to bet you also say na zdrowie in Russia when someone sneezes.
Is it like good luck or something?
Yeah, kind of. So it's just like a blessing.
Yeah, na zdrowie. Yeah, because na zdrowie is in here. Because I looked at it and I was like, oh, Polish. And I hadn't made the same connection because I was like, oh yeah, I know this phrase. So yeah, weird. I mean, again, there's no dialogue, but now I'm questioning every time she's been like, "This is a phrase from this place." I'm like, "Is it? Is it?" Bika Velha certainly wasn't.
Solid -1.
If I could give it a -3, I would. That's how hard I feel about that section. All right. Teriblo's presence. Oh man, the sirens.
Big time Teriblo's presence happening over here. We were whining about it last book, and maybe it's a lot of the previous books. Like, where's he been? What's going on? Here he is. He's come back in with a big force.
Vengeance.
Oh man, dude, I was losing my mind reading this thing.
I kept thinking that I accidentally went back in a chapter because I was reading the same thing again with the same words, and I was like, oh, did I accidentally flip the page? And then I discovered I hadn't. I was like, wait, there's the exact same thing. And then we're talking about Christmas and Santa Claus in 2 chapters, and I was like, I was out of my fucking mind. Like, again, I was sending Chris these voice memos where I was crying laughing because I just couldn't believe what I was reading. It was absolutely out of this world. Wild as fuck. Yeah, unhinged from reality, disconnected from time and space. Absolutely.
If we're just wholesale making shit up, like I said before, then definitely strong chaos presence happening here with no structure, no tether to what might be factual. Easy -1 on this one.
I mean, and for me, it's like even the things that were or are likely to be factual, it's presented in a way that is absolutely chaotic. So
yes.
It's almost like the made up stuff doesn't even really factor for me because I'm already so deep in the bowels of hell that like it doesn't matter anymore that there might be lies because the structure is so fucked.
I don't understand how you could go through and like write the same chapter 20 times and not think to yourself like, hey, maybe I shouldn't just be doing this over and over the same way again. How does it not get boring for you?
Well, because the robots did a lot of it, I think.
True. Robots don't care.
Yes. All right. So that's a -1.
Yep.
-1. All right. All right. Should this exist? Fucking hell no.
No.
This is one of the few times I'm going to say this did not need to be in the world. This is not adding anything. It took sanity from us. Would readers of this genre enjoy this? I don't know. What is this audience?
No,
what
if
is
you're
this
like
genre?
a travel person, you're not getting anything out of this except maybe like an extremely surface level idea of like what you should check out when you're in the country. And then if you go to Iraq for some reason, you're looking to like imagine someone reading this book and they're like, I'm going to take a trip to Iraq for whatever reason. And they go there and they're like, hey, let's do some Kalake. And everyone is like, what?
What's
like imagine being that person. So not only did you get fleeced a little bit, but you look like a fool in some contexts. So I don't feel as if the author's goal was met here, unless it was explicitly to just get a little bit of cash out of people.
I mean, I think capitalism is the evil here, because why else would you ever do this? Seems like she's trying to get out of India. She probably needs money. Like, I get it, man. I understand, but there are more ethical ways to make money. Like, you could have, if you have a graduate degree and it seems like you can at least write a sentence, you could have written something, like a real thing. I don't know why you would do this. What was I checking? I opened Amazon. Oh, right, to see what genre this is tucked into. We are in just travel. That's it. Just in travel.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like, this isn't a travel book. This doesn't help you plan a trip, and it's also not a travel book where you can read it and feel like you went to that place, right? And again, when there is free audiovisual content easily accessible on the internet, why would you pick this up instead? When I can go to YouTube and watch probably a pretty well-produced and thorough video, or just about someone's trip, like, why would I choose this instead? I don't understand who the audience is. I don't get it. I mean, I guess if your internet connection is so poor that you can't consume audiovisual content, you can only do text, and you can't travel outside of your own country, I mean, I don't know.
You're really reaching to be generous here, Paris. You're super reaching to be generous.
It's awful. It's awful. This is bad. Do we feel that the author's goal was met? I mean, if it was to make a quick buck, maybe, but I also can't imagine that many people would have purchased this, right? Like,
nope. Does it add anything new, interesting, or novel? Absolutely the fuck not. Perhaps lies. Perhaps it adds lies into the mixture of travel books.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's look at sales rankings. So it's 1,731,895th in the Kindle store overall. It's 22,145th in the Kindle Travel, and then in travel books, because I guess you actually can get this print on demand, which I didn't realize. It is 95,779th. So I can't imagine she's making a ton on this, like, a year later or so. I don't know. I don't want to crush people's dreams, but I think you got to pick a new dream. I think you got to do a different dream. I don't know. This is just...
Well, Paris, did it take something from us? And I believe, yes. I feel like I've lost many sanity points on this one.
Hang on a minute. You know what I didn't consider?
What's that?
That this person could be fake.
Oh no.
This could be 4D chess, Chris. This could be... And you know why I say they might not be real? Is because I went to her blog just now.
Uh-huh.
And,
it's all just Cristiano Ronaldo shirtless pics?
No. I just clicked on, like, one of the entries, and it looked crazy. There's just a couple entries on here, and they just are a little weird. They're only from last year. All right, I don't know. Maybe she's a real person, but this blog is just weird. All right, I'm going to read this. All right, this is a blog entry from March 22nd to 2023. It's called 2 Hot Air Balloons. It's just got a picture of 2 hot air balloons. And then it says, what tattoo do you want and where would you put it? And then the blog begins. I have 0 tattoos. Yep, I'm one of them tattoo virgins. Last year, I embarked on a dream journey to Switzerland, a destination I had longed to visit. Despite our short stay, every moment etched itself vividly in my memory. Unexpectedly, my phone ceased to function on the second day of our arrival, prompting me to resort to my friend's gaming device sporadically for communicating with family. Surprisingly, this mishap turned out to be a hidden blessing. It gifted me with the exact digital detox I hadn't realized I craved. Side note, our hotel was opposite McDonald's with the best view in the world.
Okay.
Taking place around the cusp of June and July, this expedition unfolded amidst a captivating phenomenon. The perpetual light of the early hours at 5 or 6 a.m. Our awakening coincided with the ethereal spectacle of countless hot air balloons gracefully adorning the morning sky. Yada yada, balloons, profound sense of tranquility and serenity, unceasing marvel of a sight. Contemplate the lives encapsulated within the balloons. It's just, yeah, okay. Use the friend's gaming phone to take a picture. It's not a great picture, but she really wants to get a tattoo of the balloons now.
Okay. Cool.
There's a section called coherence.
Oh.
Yeah,
is there?
That's what really got me. All right. You can trust nature, but never a man.
Oh fuck. Oh shit. Okay.
I mean
I feel like I'm like equally kind of mistrustful of like nature and
Aw, it's just a poem. God damn it. Oh. Thought it was going to be some juicy blog post. 36 questions to fall in love. What?
What is this blog? It's poems and like what I think I should get for tattoos and then a quiz?
And it's only for like a few months in 2023. It's really strange, which is what makes me think she might not be a real person.
Like they found the AI robot that this is and they managed to destroy it once and for all.
Yeah. We got some fiction. Ooh.
Okay.
All right, hang on. Deception. January 15th, 2024. The night Anastasia Carmichael, daughter of the wealthiest man in town, was found lifeless. She was draped in the signature red dress, a symbol of both allure and deception. The air crackled with tension as I dialed the police. Detective Martini soon arrived at the penthouse, rain dripping from the brim of his hat. I offered my help with a coy smile. The luxurious penthouse whispered secrets as Detective Mitchell scanned the room, his eyes meeting mine with an unspoken understanding. The room felt suffocated with the stench of betrayal as The room felt suffocating? Okay, as Detective Mitchell approached the lifeless body of Anastasia, her once vibrant eyes stared into the void and a crimson pool of blood surrounded her. The detective meticulously examined the crime scene, his experienced eyes narrowing at the subtle clues scattered around. He muttered under his breath, piecing together the puzzle of her demise. Looks like a staged scene, Bunny, he finally spoke, his voice heavy with contemplation. The wounds seemed too precise, almost surgical. It's as if the killer wanted to send a message. This wasn't just a random act of violence. I leaned in, intrigued, my eyes fixated on the lifeless form of Anastasia. So what's your theory, Detective? Mitchell sighed. It's possible she knew the killer. Lack of struggle. Oh, God, this is
just the most cliche, like, noir detective intro that
and it's only a few
crafted.
Paragraphs. It's only a few paragraphs. Apparently it took place in New York. And, of course, the author planned it all and got away with the murder. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
So we have a fiction piece, a bit of poetry, a love quiz, and a blog post about what tattoos she would like.
Yeah.
That's some real coherent blog post in there.
I'm pretty confused. Oh, hey, fun fact. Remember how this was a trilogy?
Oh yeah?
I don't think the other two exist. I think she gave up on this. So maybe she already figured out what we've said. Maybe she figured out this is all a bad idea and she's switched gears. I certainly hope so. There does not seem to be a second or third book.
Maybe it's still forthcoming. She's working really, really hard, Paris. It takes time to give ChatGPT prompts.
Yeah. I mean, her name is also not I think her name is kind of a common name, like both her first name and her surname. So there are other books on Amazon by Shivangi Sharma, but I don't know if any of these are the same person. In any case, there isn't a second and third cultural passport. So the trilogy never came to be, and we can all be grateful.
Yes, indeed. So, -1 on should this exist, huh, Paris?
Oh yeah, please. It took things from me. It took my sanity.
So, -1 on technical construction, -1 on coherence / plot, even though it's not really a plot thing, -1 on prose, -1 on Terrible Presence, and -1 on should this exist, a -5 out of 5. One of the worst. Congratulations, Cultural Passport. You're in some hallowed halls here at Terrible Book Club. We try to be nice, I think, sometimes, and we try to give some grace, but I cannot give any to a book that straight up lies about shit.
No, and also a book that just... Okay, you're not going to tell me that she has no self-awareness and didn't read this after she finished it. Would you ever publish something that you didn't read cover to cover?
No.
Or have, like, better read, like, somebody else read, like, which is another reason why I'm like, is this entity even real? Is Shivangi Sharma even a real person? Is this just like a persona to put out AI books and make some money? I mean, people do that. You know?
Sure. I mean, it claims in the acknowledgments that, like, her brother helped her write this. So, you know, if that's true.
Did it say that? Oh,
yes.
I don't remember.
Okay,
yeah.
Paris. Can we fix it?
Fix it. I don't know, Chris. What do you think?
Okay, so maybe if you started with this idea and you had like one cultural practice, if you're really sticking with like one cultural practice per country, maybe if you followed along with someone like a local, like during that cultural practice to get a lot more down on the ground color and flavor, that might be a little bit more interesting than just doing a very surface level idea of it. Or on the other hand, just give me more than one or two things so that you're actually truly weaving a tapestry, as you put it so many times. Or, you know, also just don't make up random legends about Carlos and the Bean Knights. That's not really adding to anything about my understanding of this culture. So I would say go back to the drawing board and maybe try with some effort, any effort, just a little, please.
Yeah. My first idea for fixing this is like, let's reconsider the focus and the audience. Like, why are you writing this and who is it for? And again, in an age of instantly accessible and free video and image content and free Wikipedia, why would anyone choose this instead to get an understanding of 20 countries? Also, I don't know why you would want to learn about 20 countries at once. It seems like too broad of a scope, right? So like you said, let's maybe narrow the scope, like whether that's doing fewer countries, just one country, or maybe traditional practices in several countries that you can connect thematically. That'll make for a good book, you know, and especially like you said, if there's a personal connection, like if she can interview people, if she herself has taken part in some of these things, that would certainly help. And or alternate idea, if you're a flight attendant, why wouldn't you just write travel guides, man? Like if you've gone to places and like had good restaurant, had good food or good coffee, if you've had fun at certain celebrations, like write guides for places you've been and tell people where to go and what to do. I mean, that to me just makes a lot more sense if we're talking about, you know, scope and theme here. This is so surface level that it's just pointless. Like I said, there's no point in doing this. I mean, I guess if she did this and learned something from it, maybe there was a point there. Like we've talked about this before, where sometimes we think authors write things not for an audience, but to work things through for themselves. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's why she never wrote 2 and 3, because she found out this was a bad idea. I hope that's the case. I hope she has
we can only dream.
On. And again, you know, if you have a graduate degree and you like writing, yeah, there are just other ways to do this. And I'm not saying that this author shouldn't try again. They really need to do some self-searching, you know, develop some self-awareness around what they've done and make some corrections before moving forward, because this is not it. This ain't it.
Nope. Okay, well, I guess thank you to the author here for bringing this to our attention on Twitter a year ago. Because boy, oh boy, was this an interesting ride.
Yeah, this is certainly unlike anything else we've read on the show. I will say this is our first social science cultural exploration book.
Heavy quotes around that.
Yeah, so I say that legitimately because we really do try to read a wide swath of things. So, we've done this now. This happened to us.
Yeah. Okay, and also, thank you to our patrons and Ko-fi donors, our bad bookworms, Anya, Ben, Donnie, Emily, Jakub, Jared, Lycoris, Renee, Scott, and Will. Our exacting editors, Kieran, David, D, Emmy, Funny Robot with Antennas, Greg, Harry7, Martin, Root Beer Cutie, and The Ugly One. The Loathsome Librarians, Veronica, Senior, Arant, Beast with Elise, Yanka, Luchek of the Void, the Taco-Eating Unicorn of the Hot Springs, Patricia, Robin, and Austin, our pesky publishers, Miles May, and our Ko-fi donors like our ever-faithful Kiwi Thing and Martin F. and Brenna, who helped relieve us of terrible books. If you want some terrible books we've read for the show, you can buy them over on our Ko-fi page. Will anyone accept the challenge to become an arch-archivist this year? What heinous, monstrous tome will you force us to read? All right, Paris, I'm off to join the Bean Knights to make the finest beak of Velha there ever was and serve it to Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, Chris, but first I need you to get ready because we're about to embark
I'm ready.
on a
The
great
podcast
Saturday.
is done. I've been ready. It's over. We've been here. Get ready to be done.
Oh man, all right. I guess do we have any other things to address or talk about? I guess we could talk about we've done all except 2 Patron Choice episodes this year, so we've got 2 more coming up in August and September. And then after that, we don't have any other recommendations from patrons at the appropriate tiers. So if you are in one of those tiers, so if you're a $10 or higher patron, let us know if you want us to read something, because at this point, this is months and months in the past, and the schedule is done.
Yeah, I think by the time that they're hearing this, they will have lost the chance, Paris.
No.
We probably would have recorded this the whole year by now.
We always move stuff for patrons. So, if you're at the appropriate tier and you forgot to tell us what to read, please let us know. Get that message to us, and we'll figure out a way to squeeze it in there. We can always push non-patron requests to next year and do fewer episode records for 2025, which we would love. So
actually, that's not a horrible idea, but
exactly. So anyway, I don't think we have any other business to. I gotta renew your passports. That's my one.
Yeah, renew your passports. Continue to check out Concilium and Graveborn, who may have had some releases of something happening this year. Continue to check out...
Not for me. Yeah, mine's 2025.
Continue to check out Gobsmacked on Steam.
Hey!
Goblin roguelite FPS arena shooter thing by Ash and Adams Games that I did music and sound effects for, and Paris is the player Goblin sounds in that one, so that's a bit of fun that you can have. And go to Oselka Sound, OSELKASOUND.com to hire me for all of your audio needs. You need some custom music for your tabletop game or your podcast or your video game or your film, or just when you're hanging out. I'll compose anything. You just want to have custom tea music? I'm down. Let's do it. You need something edited for audio like your own podcast? Hey, hand it over to me. I've been doing this for 200 episodes at this point. So head on over to oselkasound.com and contact me.
Yeah, hire Chris. Anyway, hope you're having a lovely... When the fuck does this episode air? Hope you're having a great summer. It's not summer right now. Hope you're having a great summer when you hear this. We are hopefully having an okay one. I don't know.
We'll see about that. Okay, Paris. Well, until next time, bienvenuto, Carlos and the Bead Knights.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Terrible Book Club. Terrible Book Club is an independent podcast produced by your hosts, Paris and Chris. Sound design and audio editing by Chris, with sound effects and music by Epidemic Sound and sometimes also Chris. Our theme song is Kiss by Yearn, which is, you guessed it, actually also Chris. You can find more of his soothing synthy sounds on Bandcamp at yearn.bandcamp.com. Do you want us to review a book of your choice on the show? Do you want access to some extra audio-visual weirdness? If so, become a patron at patreon.com/terriblebookclub. If you'd like to send us a one-time tip instead, you can do that at ko-fi.com/terriblebookclub. You can also support TBC for free by sharing the show on social media, following our accounts on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or Goodreads, telling your friends about your favorite episode, or by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, or anywhere else on the internet. To send us book recommendations or your adorable pet photos, send an email to terriblebookclub@gmail.com.